Constitute. Verb. To form or make up a whole. Those quiet habits constitute most of her mornings: tea, light, and a few pages of a book. Repute. Noun. The general opinion people have about someone or something. The baker's repute traveled ahead of him. Strangers stepped into the shop and inhaled cinnamon before they reached the counter. Yoke. Verb. To join two things together, often in a way that limits freedom. Debt can yoke a small business to lenders who suddenly care about every receipt. Terse. Adjective. Using very few words, often in a clipped or abrupt way. Her terse note on the fridge, "Milk gone," said enough that nobody asked twice about the empty jug. Foment. Verb. To stir up trouble or strong feeling. Gossip fomented a feud between neighbors who had shared a fence for 20 years. Hasty. Adjective. Too fast, not thought through. A hasty turn on black ice sent the car into the snowbank. Exemplary. Adjective. Worth imitating because it sets a high standard. The eldest cousin set an exemplary pace on the ridge, offering a steady hand on the loose scree and pausing where the view opened over the valley. Complacent. Adjective. Too satisfied with the current situation to notice problems. After a streak of easy wins, they became complacent, and the first serious competitor exposed gaps they had stopped paying attention to. Staunch. Adjective. Firm in loyalty or support. She was a staunch fan of the small library, even when its hours shrank. Attrition. Noun. A gradual wearing down by repeated pressure or friction. The dispute wore on through attrition until both sides agreed to split the bill. Subside. Verb. To become calmer or less intense. When the shouting finally began to subside, the room filled with small sounds again, a chair scraping, a pen clicking, and someone exhaling as if they had been holding their breath. Acumen. Noun. The ability to make good judgments in a specific area. Her business acumen helped her spot hidden costs in the partnership offer, even though the headline numbers looked attractive. Pejorative. Adjective. Expressing disapproval or criticism. Calling the plan pejorative names did not change its numbers, and the mayor asked critics to attack the assumptions instead of the staff who ran the models. Measured. Adjective. Careful and controlled rather than rushed or emotional. He gave a measured reply to the criticism, resting both hands on the table and choosing each word as if it might tilt the room. Sardonic. Adjective. Showing mockery or cynicism in a dry, often bitter way. He offered a sardonic smile when the coach promised easy wins, and he tightened his laces for another lap. Evanescent. Adjective. Fading quickly from sight or memory. The evanescent rainbow thinned to a pale smear before they could aim a camera. Explicit. Adjective. Stated clearly and directly, leaving little room for doubt. Her instructions were explicit, including what to do if the primary contact was unavailable and how to document each step for the next shift. Imbroglio. Noun. A complicated and messy situation that is hard to escape. The rental imbroglio involved 3 leases, 2 keys, and 1 angry subletter. Intractable. Adjective. Hard to control, change, or solve. The dispute seemed intractable until both sides agreed to define one measurable goal for the month and stop arguing about everything else at once. Guarded. Adjective. Careful about revealing thoughts or feelings. Her answers stayed guarded at first, and only when the cafe emptied did she begin to speak more freely over the cooling cups. Embellish. Verb. To add decorative details, often to make a story more dramatic than truth allows. He tended to embellish fishing tales until the trout grew longer every year. Perturb. Verb. To disturb someone's calm or focus. The sudden knock did not frighten her, but it did perturb her concentration, and the sentence she had been shaping collapsed into a blank stare. Zephyr. Noun. A soft, gentle breeze. A zephyr lifted the curtains, cool against the heat that had pooled in the upstairs hall. Apprehensive. Adjective. Worried that something may go wrong. She was apprehensive before the audition, smoothing her skirt with damp palms while the muffled music behind the door sounded confident and far away. Incumbent. Adjective. Required as a duty or responsibility. It was incumbent on her to call the client before rumors spread, so she stepped into the hallway, found a patch of quiet, and told the truth without decoration. Timorous. Adjective. Timid and easily frightened by risk. The timorous intern knocked twice before entering, though the door already stood open. Vigilant. Adjective. Carefully watching for problems or danger. During the outage, the on-call engineer stayed vigilant, tracking new alerts and confirming each fix before declaring the system stable again. Modicum. Noun. A small amount of something, often just enough to matter. A modicum of salt transformed the tomatoes, sharpening their sweetness until the simple salad tasted like something served on a white tablecloth. Rationale. Noun. The reasoning behind a belief or choice. Her rationale for leaving early was simple. The tide would cover the path home within the hour. Resilient. Adjective. Able to recover quickly from difficulty. After the grant was rejected, the resilient team regrouped, rewrote the proposal, and secured funding from a different foundation. Defer. Verb. To delay an action or decision until later. They chose to defer the renovation until spring, when contractors were available and the supply costs were less unpredictable. Amiable. Adjective. Pleasant and easy to like. The new neighbor seemed amiable from the start, pausing in the stairwell with a bag of oranges and asking whether the heat had finally come on. Augury. Noun. A sign that suggests what may happen in the future. The sudden hush of birds felt like an augury, and the hikers quickened their pace as clouds gathered above the ridge. Discerning. Adjective. Having good judgment, especially about quality. A discerning reader could tell the difference between a rushed argument and a carefully developed idea with sources that held up. Linger. Verb. To remain longer than expected or desired. The last note of the violin seemed to linger in the rafters, and no one spoke until the applause rose like rain. Adept. Adjective. Very skilled at doing something. He was adept at easing tension in a meeting, often by asking one plain question that returned everyone to the actual problem. That's everything for this session. If this helped you, subscribe for more. See you next time.